Bring me the next shiny new thing. Bring me the next.
The Pickleball CHIX are obsessed with America's fastest growing sport, pickleball. Get ready for on and off the court hot topics. Lots of laughs, cocktails and champagne with your hosts, Annie and Rebecca.
I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Annie.
And we're the Pickleball Chicks. Hey, oh my God, we have such a great podcast today. And we want to quickly give you guys the shout outs of the word of the day and the drink of the day.
Yes.
So the word of the day is paddle. And that's for our super cool guest today is
Zane Navratil, and he has a big announcement about his paddle. You may already know that if you've been following him.
So when we hear paddle, what are we going to drink? This is our drink of the day is champagne for Zane.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're so excited. We can't wait for everybody to hear all the great information. He's such a cool guy, such a great guest. So let's get started.
Let's do it. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a very special guest, a pickleball pro, an all-around great guy, a highly rated man in the pickleball space, Mr. Zane Navratil.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. You guys don't know if I'm a nice guy or not. We've only been talking for a couple minutes. I could be a total jerk and you'd have no idea.
Ooh, we actually have done our research.
And we have this on high regard from Leslie Roberts.
Oh, there we go. She's a good judge of character, I will say. She's a beast.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to stand by that.
We are.
You're a great guy.
Yes. And then we watched probably every podcast you've been on. And we loved the things I love best about you is that you're fun and easygoing, but yet a smarty. And I did see that you have your daily routine on a spreadsheet.
Of course. You don't? Or what?
Doesn't everyone?
Right. Of course. You have to. How else do you make fun? How else do you check off every day whether you do it or not?
Oh,
yes,
I love this.
Yes.
Well, okay, before we start talking about your transition from APP to PPA and MLP and all of these great things, our listeners would like to know a little bit more about you. Rebecca, you've got some fun things.
Yes. So we did a little bit of research on you. And what was cool is that it sounds like you're super close with your dad and that you guys have developed some games of your own. And my favorite was smack pong.
It's a great sport. I don't even remember where I spoke about this. Which podcast was that on?
There have been a few. But what we want to know is, how's it going?
Smack pong?
Yeah.
You know what? We're still waiting for it to be an Olympic sport. And for those who haven't heard of smack pong yet, for maybe some of the few who haven't heard of smack pong, it's basically like a mix between ping pong and sting pong. And sting pong being where you win a point and the other person has to turn around and you get to wing a ping pong ball at them. But this is, smack pong is where you play regular ping pong. However, if you just drill somebody with the ball, you get 3 points instead of 1 point. So it definitely is for the people that wake up and choose violence in the morning. And yeah, so that's how my dad and I can sometimes get some aggression out. So the nice part about smack pong. Now imagine you're in a pickleball match and you're playing Major League Pickleball scoring. You're down 0-20 in a game of 21. The beauty about smack pong is the game is never over because if I hit my dad or my dad hits me above the neckline, headshots are game winning. So 0-20. And my dad gets a headshot on me, and then it's game over. He just turned the tides. So, yeah, usually when you're down about 15 points, you start going for headshots. It's a ping pong ball. It doesn't hurt too badly.
I love that. That is cool. So you seem like you have just a really tight connection with your dad. And I had heard somewhere that you and your father had the same tennis coach.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously I'm close with my dad. I'm also, really close with my mom as well. And they both like to come and watch all of the tournaments and whatnot. So they're able to come to a decent amount of tournaments, which is awesome. My mom texts me all the time about pickleball related stuff, but we just haven't ever played. But yeah, we're very close as well. And yeah, back at the Prairie School in Racine, Wisconsin. My dad went there, and I don't know what that, like the 80s or something. And then Harold Swanson was my coach when I went to high school, which was like 2010 through 2014. So yeah, we shared the same tennis coach.
So cool. So cool.
That is so cool. And by the way, my family is from Rice Lake, Wisconsin, up north.
Oh, nice.
Is that close?
It's a couple hours, right? 2-3 hours away, maybe.
2-3. I would say, yeah, probably 2.5, 3 hours, something along those lines.
So, and is that where then your parents have their business still in Racine?
Yeah. They own Dimple's Fine Imports in Racine, Wisconsin. They bring clothing and jewelry and unique gifts from India, China, Thailand. So it's pretty cool. When you're in Racine, Wisconsin, you gotta check it out.
That is cool. We are business owners outside of our Pickleball CHIX company.
Yep.
So we love the entrepreneurial spirit
that you have.
Yes, and we can see that you clearly have inherited this from your parents.
For sure. Yeah, no, I was before a pickleball pro, I was an auditor, and I always kind of knew that I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but I didn't think I'd be doing it at whatever age I was, like 24 or 25 or something. I don't even remember. I think I was 24. Yeah, it was cool. They're good role models because they've built a successful business in a space that's not super easy to do so. And more than anything, I saw the lifestyle that they were able to live, where they obviously they have a lot of stress and they have a lot of work being the business owners, but at the same time that pays off where they're able to make trips and come to Major League Pickleball or come to my college tennis matches when I was in college. Like they don't miss the important things, which, isn't always the case if you have a regular 9-to-5 job. So yeah, they're my role models.
Is that why you stayed so close to home going to college? And where did you go? Whitewater.
Yeah, University of Wisconsin, Whitewater. Well, I didn't want to stay too close to home. The very first college that I ruled off the list was Carthage College, because that was in Kenosha, which is one town over from Racine. That would have been too close. Whitewater was a good distance. It was like an hour and a half or so. So it was good. They could come to a bunch of the tournaments and whatnot. I could go home for the weekend if I wanted to. And Whitewater also had a really good tennis program and accounting school. So it ended up being a perfect fit.
Oh, nice.
And did you by chance meet your fiance in college?
No. I met
we had a bet. I bet that you did.
Yeah.
I said no.
How much did you guys bet?
Oh, it was just one shot.
Just one shot.
Of Tennessee Fire.
Oh wow. Now do you guys have that on you right now or what?
No.
Well,
that will be later.
you guys before this, you filled me in on your rules. If anybody says paddle.
Oh
yes.
Whoops.
Yes.
Paddle.
Yes.
Cheers. Champagne for Zane.
There we go. That's too bad you don't have your shot with you. But
I know because
see, this is an unfair game because I'm drinking some coffee. You guys are drinking champagne. So you're at my mercy. Like I could really get you guys.
You know what?
And we'd struggle to finish this podcast.
Yes, we would. Although we're hoping to see you live and in person in Daytona Beach for your for MLL.
Are you guys going to come down to Major League Pickleball?
Yes, we will.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
We'll be in Daytona for PPA and MLP.
Yes.
And Minnesota for
Yes, and speaking of Minnesota, Zane.
So we knew you were from the Midwest, and we love Lucky Shots.
Oh yeah.
And we've seen that you have done some stuff there. So what is your connection to Lucky Shots in Minneapolis?
Yeah, no, I like Lucky Shots. It's a pretty cool place in the Twin Cities area. I filmed some of my YouTube videos there with Chris Olson from the Pickleball studio. But what I'm also really excited about Pickle and Social, which is another entertainment facility that's going to have obviously pickleball and also a top of the line bar and restaurant. They're based out of the Atlanta area, and I'm a partner and investor with them. So that's pretty soon when they get their first facility opened in Gwinnett, Georgia next year. That's where I'll be filming all my YouTube videos.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, they've got some nice locations. They've got some very high-end locations and a great track record with a couple of their other entities. So I'm excited to be a part of that team too.
Oh, that's cool. What are some of the other locations, may we ask?
Yeah. So the parent company of Pickle and Social is called Competitive Social Ventures, and they own Roaring Social, which is a bar, restaurant, and golf simulators. And they also own Roaring Social, which is a 1920s themed speakeasy that has miniature bowling. So yeah, it's got mini bowling, your shoes off or anything. Really, really cool vibe. The owners took me there on, I think it was like a Wednesday night or something, and it was packed, and everyone's dressed up really, really nicely. It was a really, really cool place, and I think there's a couple of those in the Atlanta area, and looking to expand pretty quickly. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you got to check out Roaring Social and Fairway Social as well. You'll have a good time.
So when will Pickle and Social debut?
It's looking like spring or summer of next year. So they've broken ground on their first location in Gwinnett, and they're just building a phenomenal facility from scratch.
Wow.
Oh, that is so wonderful. You are such a businessman.
You are.
And we really
like it.
We really do. And we also have noticed that you're very committed to the game of pickleball and growing pickleball as well, with your clinics, your camps, your other partnerships. And we'd love to hear more about that, Zane.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I went to college for business. I got an accounting degree as CPA and whatnot. And when I was quitting my job, I just identified pickleball as a good business opportunity. And obviously I'm leveraging my passion, which is playing, and I'm using that to be able to build businesses within the space. So, I mean, I think there's just a lot of opportunity. And right now, if you're putting effort into pickleball in one way or another, a lot of people are being very, very successful. So I enjoy the business side of things just as much as I enjoy playing.
Well, we are impressed, and you're really building a phenomenal brand that will go on forever.
Yes.
After all of your pickleball success.
Absolutely. And we would love to hear the inside scoop on the ProXR. Could we?
Paddle. And when we say paddle,
cheers.
Yeah. So
there's a sticker.
So I asked Annie and you guys, the people are going to be drinking. I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant of your audience, but people are going to be drinking along at 3:30 on a Wednesday, and you're confident of this, huh?
Well, people work from home these days. No, I'm just teasing.
But it's informative and fun.
And a lot of our listeners watch us on YouTube.
Yeah. Or Facebook.
After the live broadcast as well. So
Yeah.
some people save it until maybe that 5 o'clock. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Somewhere.
Isn't that Margaritaville song or Jimmy Buffett's or whose song is that?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. So.
So really fill us in. We've been so excited to hear about your paddle.
I think everyone has, right?
Everybody is.
I mean, I think anyone that we know, they've been they've been at the edge of their seat.
Yeah.
So please enlighten all of us, Zane.
And we've seen that you've actually had some in Arizona. So we were not there. Unfortunately, we could not get there. But so we do see that you are getting them out there. But how is it all coming and what's been the word on it?
Yeah, so we started designing the paddle in probably October or so of last year, and there are a couple of specific things that we did to really sort of tailor it to my game. First and foremost, it has an elongated handle, which is I think even longer than most on the market. I think the first elongated handles came in with like a 5 to 5.5 inch grip, and we bumped that all the way up to 6 inches.
Wow.
So it's a long grip, and it allows you to very comfortably get 2 hands on the grip of the paddle. So if you use a 2-handed backhand, what I was used to doing was I would have to kind of put 2 of my fingers on the back of the paddle face, and now I don't have to do that anymore, which allows me to use my left hand a little bit better, and my left hand can be a little bit more maneuverable now. So that was a big thing. And it had 2 kind of cool unintended consequences, actually, which first, it slightly reduced the surface area of the paddle. And so if you swing this, it feels like it's really light, although it is still coming in at 8 to 8.2 ounces. Mm-hmm. So it's not a light paddle. It just feels light, right? Kind of the best of both worlds. And then also the other thing is more of the weight is in the handle. So it's somewhat headlight, which allows for really good paddle head speed. And so yeah, it feels lighter than 8.2. One of the other key things was obviously we got to have the raw carbon face. And that allows for really, really good spin, good action. And finally, we have foam infused edge guard.
And I want to know what that does.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. So for me, what it feels like is it just feels like it, when you hit it off center, it doesn't feel like as much of a mishit. So it seems to sort of even the paddle out a little bit, meaning like if you hit it closer to the edge, it doesn't like you're losing something. So that to me feels like the main thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
And then finally, it just looks cool. I think it looks sweet. It's got the blue on the face. I think they did a phenomenal job.
We've loved it. You look good. You feel good. You play good.
You play good.
Absolutely. You gotta look good to play well. So yeah, for sure. It breeds confidence.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. And we appreciate all that you are doing for the sport of pickleball. And speaking of other partnerships, Rebecca.
Well, so we have seen the pictures of you with your compression sleeves on. And we just wanted to ask you about that, because what do you think about those? And do you have a certain brand that you use every day? Is that part of your daily routine?
You know, I wouldn't say that's part of my daily routine, but one of the things that is part of my daily routine, I think there's value to the compression stuff for sure. But one of the things that I've found even more value in is actually utilizing massage guns, and not in the way that you would.
Yes.
Where a lot of people are using them as a recovery tool. So I actually use my Yobow massage gun before I play to actually sort of loosen up some of the muscles and get some blood flowing. A lot of people are like, oh, my my calf is sore, so I'm going to go Yobow my calf afterwards, right? But I'll actually Yobow my whatever is bugging me, or even not bugging me before I play. So using the Yobow tools as a warm up rather than just seeing it as a recovery is something that's really important, because then I step onto the court feeling really good, and maybe I don't tweak something or another.
And I use that every morning and every night.
Yeah. Did Leslie talk about that as well?
What was that? You cut out. What was that?
Did Leslie talk to you about the Yobow as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I had knee surgery. And then we talked with her on our podcast, and we were like, she's just such a wealth of information. And every morning and night, you've got to get your body stretched and figured out. So so I have one of those. I love it. I use it morning and night, and that has really helped the progression of my knee and my muscle in general all around.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, this morning, you might get a kick out of this. We were playing in our league, and we're stretching, and we're, just kind of doing our thing. And our opponent said, "Are you trying to psych us out?" and it really dawned on us. So few people really stretch.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, that was the word of the day with Leslie, was stretch. But it really is interesting. And so it's good to hear that. And that's something that we will continue to share with the people that are watching and that we're playing with. And speaking of,
I wanted to just ask one thing. Zane, so when will your racket, we didn't get this info, and we really want to get it to everybody so that they know, when will your racket be available, your paddle, available for everyone?
There we go.
Oh, shit. Yeah. She was avoiding that word by calling it a racket.
I was going to call you out on that. Sorry, Rebecca. I was going to call you out on that.
Thank you. As you should.
So it will be again, I'm full of teasers, but it'll be available very soon. The best way to sort of stay up to date is to check out my newsletter. We'll have an announcement on my newsletter. My newsletter is free. It's not one of those spammy ones. We really usually only do one per month, but it's on zanenavratilpickleball.com. You can sign up for it there, and we'll let you know. But you can look for an announcement quite soon. We're thinking second half of February, so it'll be available. So very, very soon.
Oh, it's Rebecca's birthday month, and so that's a big deal for her. She's like, of course it is.
When's your birthday?
February 18th. Thank you so much for asking.
Yes.
Such a big day.
Oh,
happy birthday!
Well, thank you, Zane. That's so nice.
That is.
What are you going to do for your birthday?
Well,
or have you been celebrating for your entire birthday month so far?
Yes.
Oh, well, let me just take over here. We've been friends for a couple of decades. So the day February 1 rolls around, it is a big deal. And she's had a lot of really cool birthday celebrations over the years.
I know.
A lot of really cool ones. This year, her birthday celebration is pickleball. Yeah. We've really been enjoying this since we've started our business, and it's a lot of fun to bring information to those that we play with and other people that we have met who now listen to our podcast and really participate with us on social. And we have a few more questions for you. Do you mind if we zip into that?
Well, we want to know, Zane, how did you meet the Olsen boys? And we have met the brothers, but Chris always seems to be not there. We've been at Mega Pickle and Pong. We'll see his brothers, and then we're like, "Where's Chris?" And then they're like, "He just walked out, or he wasn't there, whatever." And then we're at something else, and we're like, "Well, where's Chris?" So we've never actually met Chris, but we know his brothers. So how did you end up meeting them?
I'll answer your question with a question of my own.
Yes.
Why do you care?
Because we see little snippets here and there of something big happening.
Honestly, Chris is definitely nothing special. Like you guys can just every day and not worry about it. anybody who's watching, you can clip that. You can send it to Chris. By all means, do your worst.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's funny.
That is funny. You have met a lot of cool people in Minnesota because they all have high regards for you.
Yes.
Another person that we really know very well is Fu Ye with Pick Ninja Sports.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that he is a big fan of yours and is cheering you on.
Awesome.
He is a cool dude.
Just making a paddle company on his own. That's pretty cool.
Cheers.
Yes. Oh,
there we go. I missed that
cheers. My goodness. So, we really do want to know, what was your transition like going from APP to PPA?
Yeah. So it's exciting, right? It's something new, something different. And it seems like, the PPA is really making a push to try and take things to the next level. Mm-hmm. And, I was ready to try something a little bit different, and obviously love playing Major League Pickleball as well. So I've only played 2 PPA tournaments so far this year, and they've been great. And yeah, so I'm excited for the year to come.
So what do you like better, playing MLP with a team and, kind of cheering everybody on, or playing PPA? What's your feeling on that?
I guess since the beginning, I've kind of said that the only thing I really miss about tennis is the team element. And now I don't really miss anything about tennis because I'm able to do so in Major League Pickleball. So, I love the team format. I think it just puts a little bit more pressure, and you don't want to let your teammates down. And now instead of having one teammate, you have 3 teammates and owners and fans and whatnot. So I think the team element just creates a whole nother atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And, I think it's good that there's both team and individual stuff, because it's nice to then go play a tournament and you can determine who the best doubles team is. Yeah. Where that's not necessarily the case in Major League Pickleball. You can't see, some team could go, 2 guys or a mixed doubles team could go undefeated in Major League Pickleball. However, they might not win still.
Right. So what do you think, Zane? What do you think is going to happen with all of the APP, PPA? So many different things. Do you think it will eventually cycle to one entity?
I think eventually it will. How long that takes kind of depends, because I think every other major sport has had multiple leagues in its past, whether that's the NFL, MLB, or NBA. They've all stemmed from a period of competition. Yeah. And I think that, PPA, APP, MLP are all still very new. And I still think that there's a possibility that another entity comes in. I'm not.
That's interesting.
The barrier to entry is still not enormous at this point. Meaning, like, if Liv can come in and disrupt the PGA, I don't see why somebody couldn't come in and disrupt the current pickleball landscape. So there's just been a tremendous amount of change over only a handful of years, and I don't think we're done.
And how fun to be part of that. Really in the middle of all of it.
Absolutely. And we didn't talk a lot about your MLP play with Frisco Clean Cause. And is there anything
you'd like to share? There's not a lot to talk about.
Well, then let's move on.
We're looking to improve from our Arizona performance. We'll come back stronger in Daytona, that's for sure.
Well, we will be there.
Yeah.
We will be there. Yeah. Hope to see you there. And we're wondering if you could just share with our listeners. We really are curious if you could share one tip that players of all ages, levels, what have you, what would one tip be?
Yeah, I think one tip is something that I try to tell my students is to separate inputs and outputs when you're playing, meaning focus on what you can control. Mm-hmm. I can control what I'm doing with my paddle, but I can't necessarily control what I'm doing, what the ball does, right? So I can control my swing, but I can't control where the ball goes to a certain extent. Focus on you, and then the outputs will come. So, don't think about, oh, I missed that shot in the net. That's an output. That's a result of your input. Think about, okay, what caused me to miss that in the net, and how can I correct?
I love that. That is really good. That's a really great.
And it's simply put in that all ages and stages and levels of play can really grab onto that and do something positive with that. And Rebecca, I know, always likes to ask
one last question. One final last question, Zane. Okay. If you could play with anyone, doesn't have to be a pickleball player, but as your partner in doubles, who would it be and why? This is always a great question. I just love everybody's answers to this one.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had presidents, we've had so many different things that people have said.
I would say maybe, I think I could learn a lot from Warren Buffett.
Now that's a new one. That's good.
I would let him serve. He would have to return. But after that, I would just be running around playing singles. And I would kind of push him off the court. Like, I would love to talk to him. Like, I would love to understand him a little bit better. And one of the things that interests me most is he's a genius, right? But he also eats like a 5-year-old. And so if his portfolio is up on a given day, he'll go to McDonald's and have a meal that's like $3.79. If his portfolio is flat, he's got the $3.50 meal. And if it's down, he's got like a $3.29 meal. So like the guy is still unbelievably frugal, even though he's one of the wealthiest people in the world.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I think he's a very, very interesting guy. I'd love to chat with him. So
I love that.
Oh, that's so interesting. And speaking of interesting, you're not only a kind, great guy, but you're also very interesting. We would love to pick up with you another day and time down the road, because we know your time is valuable, and we are so grateful to have you with us today, Zane. Thank you.
Thank you. You were so fun to chat with, and we look forward to seeing you in Daytona.
Yes.
Same here. Thank you guys very much for having me, and I hope that the Pickleball CHIX audience enjoys and isn't too hammered. We only said paddle. Times. You guys still have some champagne left.
I know. That's really sad. Thank you so much, Zane. And we want everybody to have a fabulous afternoon.
Yes, we do. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Well, that was fun. He is an awesome guest.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I am team clean cleanse Zane all the way.
Yeah, me too. And you know what else I'm a team favorite follower of? That's right. Our Pickleball CHIX distressed hats. We have been bugged about these because they were out of stock, but they're back in stock. Get them from
www.pickleballchicks.com. And they're fan fave. And I'm not much of a hat gal, but I do like this. I mean,
like it too.
I love it. You can even do a little,
Now, I don't know if you know this, but can you see the pink? I love the pink. I love the pink. I just love everything pink. So get them while you can. Thanks so much for following.
Yes.
It's been a great day.
Oh,
cheers to another podcast.